Hey, welcome back everyone. This is part 3 and this is page 14, although we're not starting from the beginning here. um, I figured this was sort of a good place to talk. Is the idea is kind of just decided to do a scene, a sequence at Danny's house. And I just spent a chunk of time sort of straightening it up. Sort of, if you don't, for those of you that don't follow along with every one of these, it's sort of my organization as far as all the files that pile up with this is I'll usually have an overarching file folder for the story itself, and then inside that I'll have files for each of the parts, a folder for files such as the sets, um, one for characters. In sort of the Shrimp of the House universe where I'm aging the characters, I basically sort of, I basically have to save copies of all the characters with each story. I can't just use, I'm not just using the same versions of the characters across all. I need to see where I am as far as numbers. This is going to be 343. Let's go to favorites. So this is 343. Let's just grab a word bubble I don't need. So, here it is. Yesterday, I did the first two panels and then decided I was going to do Danny's house. So it kind of comes in mid-page. So I had to stop while fixing up the set. So anyway, um, so it's like, even though I'm using sort of the same house with each story, it's a new version of it gets saved with each story because, with this series, I'm sort of making changes to it as sort of I get better looking models and replace some of the uglier low. What is this? Okay, this is interesting. Oh, we're in 3 to wow, that went fast. How long did that? Holy crap! 1 minute. Hmm. You know what? Since I get another chance at this, let's give them a little bit of a smile. So they don't look so serious here. And I gotta change this to intermediate OpenGL. Hmm. Let's close that and render that. So at some point, I've been kind of building up my library of models over time. So at some point in this past year, I kind of went through and deleted a whole mess of sort of older, lower poly models from my library. Holy crap, this is going fast. Ah, shoot. Yeah, let's see here. It's. I guess the button got hit twice. Oh, wait a minute. What is. Oh, that's a cleaner version. Okay. So I'm going to take this one. Let's save this one. And then I can close this one. So I've deleted a lot of the lower, like I said, I was deleting a lot of the lower poly models and in order to just like force myself to work with some of the better models I've got in my library. But the problem is I haven't worked with Danny's house since the 5th story in this series. Was it Summer's End? And this is the 10th story in the series, so there's a lot of pieces in this set that were affected because I deleted a lot of the older stuff. So I've gone through and, so today I've been spending the time kind of retexturing some of the stuff, like the siding is sort of a better texture than the one that was on it. Replaced a lot of the props in not every room, but some of the rooms I plan to use. So out here, the planners got replaced. I think the living room had quite a bit of stuff that got swapped out, and the 2 kids' bedrooms. I'm not doing the whole house. The bathrooms have a lot of stuff that need to be kind of replaced, but I don't intend to take this story into the bathrooms. So rather than waste the time right now, I've just closed the bathroom doors so we don't see in there. And like I said, the kitchen and the master bedroom are the same way. So, I don't plan on going into those rooms. Like I said, this is just probably going to be the rest of this page and the next page, and that's all we're going to see here. So let's go open as layer. Ideally, what I really need to do is completely remodel this house, the house itself, from scratch. I did it with, oh my god. Okay. Let's try this again. No wonder it's... oh my god. No wonder it went so quickly. It's a smaller picture, so we're going to delete that. So at one point in the last... That still went quickly. Wow. Okay, that's a clean... So let's save. Let's see if we've got a better size now. I basically... shoot, I went... undo. I keep forgetting. This is 33, not 34. I had kind of completely remodeled the set for David's house, for their house, David and the kids, the main house. Oh shoot, I don't want to go. Oh well, let's see if we can go this way and bring them in. No, you know what? This is going to be a pain in the butt here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this over. It's going to be these two I redo. So let's go cut. Okay, we'll park you here. So what I'm going to do, let's see. So this one, I can just trim it, right? Okay. Oh no, actually we keep that. So I'm going to edit, cut, select none. This one, let's go file, open as layers. We need to go into 3 because the picture's here somewhere, this one. And we're just going to do this. And hopefully, I'd like to have this, actually, no, it's better like that. So, I think, okay, good. Jackson does get cut off. When I did that picture, I knew Jackson was going to get cut off, so I didn't bother moving him out of the shot. So what I'm going to have to do is, let's delete this one. Let's take this box, and we're going to fill it in, and basically do all these 3 over. Layer to image size, cut, but oops, I forgot to invert. So I'd like to, like at some point, remodel Danny's house, but since I don't use it frequently, it's not a priority. I can live with this current mess. Yeah, we're going to paste as new layers. It's sort of the issue is when you're, before I picked up Hexagon and started modeling in there, what I was doing was using the cubes in 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 DAZ. I'll show you in a second. Come to think of it. So let's go select, shrink. What I'd basically do is for each wall, you sort of create a cube and then kind of flatten it to make a wall. You sort of figure out how many polygons you need in order to cut out holes that fit the doors and windows. And, you know, in essence, you end up with a wall that's very high, that has a very high poly count because you've got divisions where you otherwise really don't need them. And in Hexagon, I can create the cutouts without having to turn this into like a 2000 poly segment. Let's see, trim. Let's lock this. Show you in a minute what I'm talking about with the wall and the cubes and all that, but let's get this out of the way. So the idea is the house itself is a mess of attached cubes. Um, and it's very high poly. It's got a very high poly count to it. Select none. Let's go Control C to copy that piece, and we will go Edit, Paste as a new layer. And then when we come over here and flip it, there's my piece. You know what? Just because this is starting to annoy me, the size of some of these layers, so I'll just crop it to selection to make it a smaller layer. See, and then you see the outline, that's the layer, it's less annoying. Doesn't really matter, but it's just kind of visually annoying me. So okay, so let's save. So let's see if I can turn. Let's put wireframe on, and I'll show you. Oh boy. Okay, so this is going to be hard to tell. Actually, house. You know what? This is. Actually, you know what I do want to take? Let's take the yard off. No. I'm trying to think. Where is this plane? Oh, I know where it is. Hold on. I'm trying to take off the environment spheres, or the this thing, and that one. See, now it's showing. So I'm just gonna, for the heck of it, come inside to look outward. So you see, there's no sphere messing with the. And this grid that you see right in front. Let me go up so the floor goes off. But if you see this grid, this is poly. This was a cube divided so that I could cut out the hole for the door neatly and nicely. Otherwise, we need texture shaded. So show you, for example, basically, if you don't want to model, you can come over here and click the primitive, and you create a cube, fit your dimensions. So, maybe let's go, because the walls are 10 feet high. Let's say 10 feet, and then you subdivide it based on how much you need. So, I think it was, if I remember, I had to make each cube like 6 inches. So you need like 20 divisions, which is something like 400 polygons per side. You take the cube, cube, and then you come over, and then you come in and you use the scale axis to size it. So if I wanted a 6-inch wall, I think that's 5%. Yeah. So that gets me a 6-inch wall, and then if the room is 25 feet long, that would be 250. And there's my cube. Oh, before I forget, I gotta put these actually. Why is the? Oh, okay. So let's just take these off for a second. So see, and then if I put it on lit wireframe, I get these. See, that makes a wall. You see how that's like a lot of polygons. And then if you look at it on edge, the polygons are packed tight. Let's see. Like, you really don't need this subdivided this much, but this was the easy, this is sort of the easy way when you don't learn to model. And I need to put it back on texture shaded. So that's like someday, like I've remodeled David's house to kind of clean up the geometry, to come up with a model with better geometry. Someday I'd like to do this one, but like I said, it's not really. And the other thing I'm trying to learn is how to actually rig props in DAZ Studios. So instead of so this door was something I modeled last night or this morning or whatever. And normally what I do is make each door panel an individual prop. Where you see, like, you get the guest pass door, and then the door is a separate piece, and then just kind of join them like this. And so now I'm trying to rig it so that it's all. I'm trying to learn to rig, so I got it all in one piece, like you see here. Oh yeah, see, if you look way off into the master bedroom, the textures are a mess on some of these props. So since I didn't, since I didn't want to take the time to clean up a room I'm not going to use, I'll just close the door and call it a day. And then somewhere here we've got to find Danny and Eva. Let's see, this is 180. So, this is in the realm of, like, here I am in the second half of the last part, and I'm still not exactly sure what I'm doing with with most of this story. So I fell in love with this idea that Jackson's going to come up with these overly complex plans. On how they're going to get out of the blame for shrinking Liz and Michael. And it's like where a lot of times this comes to talking heads. this ends up being Talking Heads. I thought this would be much more interesting. And a lot funnier if I showed the so-called plans playing out as sort of as mini fantasy scenarios. And I loved, I always loved what I did in The Babysitter, where because Jackson is telling the story, the characters within that story are not true to life, so to speak, life within the universe. So in The Babysitter, um, Alex doesn't quite act, Alex isn't acting like himself. He's acting the way Jackson, combination of how Jackson sees him and what he thinks of him. So it's, so it's not a true portrayal of him. So I loved it enough that I was doing that. Like it's always funny. So I was doing it here. And I made, making jokes in the scenario where he's giving uh, David where she's giving David the present. Um, it plays on like the idea that he sees his dad as like fat and dumpy and overweight. Plus, he's probably having a little fun. So, in this scenario, when I was loading the characters before shooting here, it kind of struck me I should do the same with Danny. So, so because this is, again, his storytelling, his fantasy, Jackson's fiction. Danny here isn't true to life. He's, I've sort of exaggerated his size a little bit. So he's a lot bulkier. you know? Which, I mean, I suppose is true to real life when you're like a kid or a teenager. You come across somebody who's got a bit of muscle, you tend to see them, you tend to think of them as bigger than they really are. So, so this is a fantasy. He sees his dad as that's like super obese, and then he sees his uncle as super muscular. Actually, no. Give me the arm. Okay. And the idea too is their reaction is going to be a little exaggerated. But we can't get blamed if we're not here. Wow, this set is going fast. All of a sudden, Love isn't my favorite niece and nephew. There we go. New layer. Actually, let's bring in 33. Okay, they fit. I've been doing this long. I've done enough of these that I generally have an idea of how far in or out to zoom on the characters to make them fit the intended panel. And then I get a situation like this one where for some reason I have doubts. And I render it and hope it fits like I want it to. Layer to image size. Let's bring that cut. Okay. There, I need the grabber tool. It's just so funny. I don't know why. It's not that funny, but shoot. That's right. I don't. So if I spin this around, I don't have a background for those two to stand against. So what I'm gonna do? Oh boy. Let's see how to. I think I've got a mess in the kitchen, so I can't exactly. Do a shot that way. So what I'm going to do is for their reaction, for their next line, we'll have them inside. Oops. Where is my door? Front door. Okay, I think for this shot, I'm going to take her out for a moment. Let's see. around. Oh, actually, I don't think. Where's the door? Oh yeah, okay. So you Control D to see if they're on the floor. I'm gonna for now put her in the unused one to make her go away. Um, okay. Favorites, let's see. That's good. This is my favorite niece and nephew. I'm at the bottom, let's see. Gosh, that is a book. Let's put the picture in to see what happens. What this is gonna look like. This is it was sort of the rate I was going with this. I was expecting to be done tomorrow and have no. Yeah, have the part up tomorrow for you guys, which would be the day before Thanksgiving, the Wednesday, the 25th. But ended up like, it was like this ended up being working on this set ended up like being kind of a snag. It slowed that down. At any rate, this should be up this weekend. What do I want to do? You cut, edit, cut. Invert. Shrink. Okay, I got some room to work here, so let's. Whoops. No, it's this one that's gonna come up there. So let's see. I'm probably. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, that gets me one less line. So, No, that's fine there. Let's merge these down. Paste. Is that lined up? Yes. Okay. Okay. I can do an angle here without. Oh, actually, okay. So I guess I have this much range of motion. I know once I get to the islands and the counter and all the appliances, that's where the problem in the kitchen is. Let's unparent Eva, and we're just gonna park these two in the unused folder for now. Oh, not favorites. Let's move her closer. Actually, side to side. I'm trying to think because I don't have an outside environment. I'm not sure how much this is going to be seen. So, actually, do I have the doors? Oh, maybe it won't be. I might be worrying over nothing. Now, what's wrong with his expression? Okay. Okay, so let's go 46. And this one, Eva will be talking. Oops. What just happened? Oh well. Okay, so I was worried about nothing. God, he looks so serious. Oh my god. I guess this is almost like the apple in the fourth story, Babysitter. Just like every time it pops up, it's such a stupid element that it just kept making me laugh. Okay, layer to image size. What I'm gonna have to do is I'll probably have to readjust the little tail because I want it to indicate that Eve is speaking. I don't want one character to dominate the. Just for the heck of it, let's see if what are the odds this it won't. Okay, that's good. Merge, edit, cut. Oops. Already merge that down. Yeah, it's kind of pointing at her, but I still feel like I sort of feel like the attention is on Danny. See, in a way, this looks like it's pointing at her. So what I'm going to do is just reverse it. There we go. And anchor. Okay. So we've got page 14. File, save, image, flatten. Export 14. We enter export. And we're here. Let's pop these. See, this is what I mean about having it subdivided. I've got one folder for the story, which is number 10 in the series, and then I've got one folder for each of the parts, each of the 24-page parts, one for characters and one for files. And then sometimes these will be subdivided. So in the files, it's usually the scene sets. Sometimes I'll put the bubbles in here if I'm not borrowing them from another folder. But then I'll have like a folder for pictures. So this will end up being like this was the picture Aiden was drawing earlier in the book. Anything that gets applied as a texture, so like photographs, if I render photographs for the picture frames, they'll go in here. Like I said, this went on the piece of paper, so that goes in here. And with the character folder, there's not much because the characters in this story were largely done up for another project that I kind of decided not to do. So I'm just taking them. I just take the characters from there instead of moving them in here. But sometimes with Shrimp of the House, the character folder will be mostly the Smith family, and then There'll sometimes be another folder in here for other characters, like all the friends will go into that folder. Usually if I've got Danny's family, they'll go in that folder and so on. Here's page 14. Let's take a look. Then Aiden will get the blame. Oh, sure, everyone will say you did it and I helped you, but they can't prove it when the guy shows up in Aiden's room. It's your room too, Jack, or did you forget? No, but we can't get blamed if we're not here. Well, if it isn't my favorite niece and nephew. Well, we were wondering if we could spend the weekend with you, Uncle Danny. Everyone wants to wrap presents this weekend, and it's... Oh, see, I gotta... So there's an error I gotta fix. And it's getting hard to find a place we're welcome at home. Of course, you're always welcome to stay with us. In fact, Rose and Ben were just asking when they could see you guys again. Okay, so we gotta go fix that. I gotta Control Z will undo the flatten. And we're here. You just pop that in and that's done. So we'll go File. Save. We'll flatten that again. And then just export to page 14. And that is page 14. I know it wasn't much, but at least I had something to talk about there. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time, hopefully.